You know I love my analog journaling and planning systems. I wouldn't have a 9 notebook journal lineup if I didn't, but while we looked through my full journal lineup in our previous video, today we're going to talk about how I supplement those with digital tools, and I have 4 in particular. A good question to start with though is, why do I even need digital systems? How is my 9 notebook stack so lacking that I need to supplement them with digital tools? Technically, I could do everything with these, but while I love my paper-based planning systems, there are some things that they just aren't as good for. The first major reason is flexibility. There are aspects of what I need to plan that have dates that tend to change. My digital systems allow me to easily change the dates for things without leading to what I'm calling mess clutter in my journals, or effectively the messiness that comes with having to cross things out and rewrite them on different days. While there are solutions to this in paper-based planners, like using pencils, erasable pens, or sticky notes, my digital systems just make this a bit simpler. The second reason is accessibility. I don't always have all my notebooks on me, or the ability to just sit down and jot something in them at any moment. What I do pretty much always have on me though is my phone, from which I can access the digital tools that I like to use alongside my paper planner lineup. This allows me to record things on the go and then transfer things into my paper planners when I'm back with them again. The third reason is shareability. When it comes to my calendar events in particular, I need an easy way to share these with my partner Vogel, so that he knows when things are happening, or at least has the ability to look them up if he forgets. While we could have a shared home journal, or I could just make sure he writes everything down in his personal journal, that is much less user-friendly than utilizing a digital system. When it comes to selecting my digital tools, they have to be ones that are 1, easy to use, and preferably ones that I'd already been utilizing. As said, I have 4 that are part of my digital tool lineup, and the first one, maybe unsurprisingly, is Notion. I've even previously used Notion as a bullet journal for a month, and we have a separate video on that topic, but the main function my Notion serves is for content planning. While I do my best to plan in advance what videos are coming out when, sometimes things come up and stuff has to move around, so having my content schedule on Notion really helps managing that. Not only this, but each of the videos on my calendar can be turned into their own page where I can record notes, write scripts, and keep track of things that I need to prepare or do for the video making process. In terms of accessibility, Notion is available both on my phone and on my iPad via the Notion app, and the work I do on there also ticks the shareability box. If you're one of the people that purchased my Notion bundle, you'll know that already though. Our next big player in terms of my digital tools is Outlook. Outlook is very much a tool that I would be using regardless of it being a digital supplement to my planning system, because I already use it for email, but the specific part that I use to help with my planning is the calendar. This is another tool that's used because of the ease with which I can change things around, but the fact that it's linked to my email account also amps up the functionality. For instance, if I get an email from a place that I've made a booking, say, I can drag that email into my calendar to save the details on the event itself. This can be really helpful for things like booking numbers, having contact details for places if I need to change bookings, and really just whatever else I might need. I can also add more details to the events just by typing them in, and I can color code the calendar events so that I can see at a glance what type of stuff is going on in any given day, week, etc. The shareability part of this tool is also what makes it a winner for me, because Vogel and I have a shared email address and a linked calendar through Outlook as related to household going-ons. All of this information is again super accessible, whether that be via our phone Outlook app, or I can access it in a larger view on my iPad, which I can then also see all of those stored details about the events that we talked about before. While yes, I could technically record those types of details in my journal, either by cramming it onto the monthly log or maybe by having a note to reference another page in my journal for more details, the digital calendar makes it a lot simpler, and that combined with the sharing features makes it a valuable part of my system. The next 2 digital tools we have might surprise you, and the first one is Microsoft Word. Technically, any word processor or notes type app would do, but given I'm already using the Microsoft suite with Outlook, I might as well keep it in the family. Plus, I've been using Microsoft Word for like 24 years, so I can safely say it is a tool that I was already using prior to including it in my planning system. The main reason for this one as part of the lineup though is because I can type faster than I can write. If you're anything like me, sometimes, or technically often, your brain is moving at 100 miles an hour and maybe your hand just can't keep up. Or at least not legibly. When it comes to my brain dumping in particular, I do find it easier to type things out rather than write them by hand, because I can get more words down per minute. Another helpful tool is the voice-to-text feature, because sometimes it really just is easier for me to say stuff rather than write it down. Once my items are brain dumped into a Word document, the organization can then also be easier because I can just drag things into separate lists, I can easily prune things back that don't need to be there, color code, etc. It ends up taking me less time and just being easier compared to writing it all on paper. If that tool didn't surprise you, then our next one might have a better shot at it, and our fourth digital tool that I like to use for my planning system is Facebook Messenger. Now, you may be thinking, Jess, what the heck? Social media is supposed to be the bane of our existence and the arch nemesis of productivity. And yes, for sure, I am super guilty of getting distracted by social media apps when I'm trying to get things done. But remember that my two big needs for selecting a digital tool were that they were easy to use and preferably I was already using them. I constantly use Facebook Messenger. Personally, it's my preferred messaging app. We don't really have WhatsApp in New Zealand, or it's not widely used. But the reason that it's part of my digital planning tool lineup is given the ability to message myself. Like we talked about, I don't carry my planners around with me all the time. Not even my everyday journal. So when I'm out and about, I need something that I can easily note things down in as they pop into my head. If you're anything like me, if you don't write things down, pretty much the moment you think of them, they're gonna get lost into the ether. So even if I'm just popping downstairs to grab a Coke Zero, if I think of a task or a to-do or something that I need to note down on the way, I will send it to myself in a message. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10, I'll have forgotten by the time I get back to my desk. Now, you may be wondering, Jess, why don't you just use the Notes app on your phone? You'd be way less likely to get distracted that way. Sure, but I also never go back and check it. I use Facebook Messenger pretty much every day, multiple times a day, which means that even if by the time I get back to my desk, I've forgotten to open the Messenger app and transfer whatever I wrote, I'm still gonna open the app in the not too distant future anyway, unlike the Notes app, which I pretty much only ever open by accident. These are my core 4, but I'd love to hear about what digital tools you use in your planning system. And if you wanted to hear more about my Notion setup in particular, then this playlist is the one you want. Click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.